Since meeting you, I've learned there's a number of ways that we can combat them, whether it's seller
Exactly.
buy downs, etc. There's
Exactly.
things we can do to mitigate.
So remember, the seller can buy down as many points for you as they would like. So how do you navigate that? Well, Harris, I mean, uh, uh, you can actually raise the price of the house. And remember, the house still has to appraise, but you can raise the price of the house, contract price, and roll those closing costs in so that the seller can do a 2-1 buy down to allow you time for the interest rate to fall, a 3-1 buy down, a 3-2 buy down, a 3-3 buy down. So it's all sorts of things that a seller can do, but you got to ask the right question, which means that you got to have that person on your side that is navigating it for you. And you might say, well, Harris, I'm not looking to buy a primary residence. I'm looking to buy an investment. Well, that's fine too, because the rules on investment are very, very similar. The only difference is the seller can only pay up to 2%. So how is that 2% better utilized? Is it better utilized to pay down um, interest rate for you if that's where your pain point is, or is it that you already know, Miss Melody, is that you already know that the potential client tenant, excuse me, is going to be paying the mortgage on this property. So you want to get it at the most reasonable price that you possibly can. And then when the opportune time comes, you refinance it, take it lower. Well, remember, uh, their rent is not going to change. The only thing that's going to change is that you're refinancing it. So you have to put yourself in a position to know the before and after. How does this affect me now, and how will it affect me later? So those are some of the things, the simple things that we can unpack as we're going through this. But I wanted to kind of really get that myth out of the way that there's no product for me or there's no program for me. That's not true. It's always a program. There is a program for first responders. There's a program for doctors, for nurses, for dentists, for chiropractors. There's a program for every single person. But it's, does that lender have the working knowledge for it, or does that lender's company offer it? So before we get our credit pull, we want to ask those questions. What um, what is your target audience? What does your company specialize in? Because if you're talking to one company, they might not specialize in the type of loans that you all will need. So you want to make sure that those little simple questions are answered. So I'm gonna jump right in. All right. So this doctor's program. All right. So 100% financing, as Ms. Jasmine spoke about before. No mortgage insurance. Why is mortgage insurance important? Well, having mortgage insurance on there will be the difference of, say you choose a $400,000 house. Well, that's kind of average um, in the Atlanta metro area, that Buckhead area. That's kind of average. 354 is normal on a price point of a home. Well, in a mid-sized area such as your Birmingham, Alabama, your Montgomery, Alabama, your Mobile, Alabama, that's a higher price home. So because Atlanta will be considered different, well, that mortgage insurance can be the difference on that price point of about $150 to $250 extra per month. Well, what if it's a new construction? Now we're talking about a little bit more. So mortgage insurance is very, very critical by not having that on some of those specific types of loans. And remember, this one here, we're talking about primary resident, 100% for a doctor's loan. And then on individual basis, we can kind of go over what that would look like for other areas. So some of the areas that will be covered: doctor of medicine, DDS, DMD. These are some of the areas that can be covered under here. Veterinarians are permitted. Well, why is this super important? Well, you have Auburn, and I'm using these because these are the ones that are closer to me. You got Auburn University, veterinarian, veterinary medicine, and then we also have Tuskegee University. Less than 15 minutes apart, they actually share some of the same campus sites by being interchangeable. So this is a great area for someone who's looking to come into this. But now you say, well, Harris, I want to uh, take on this kind of role, and I want to buy land. Well, why would a doctor's loan with no PMI be useful for a veteran? And we're just using this only as an example because that's right here in this area. Well, they can buy up to 25 acres. What do they need if they are a veterinarian? Land for, rehabilitation of animals and things like that. So finding the way to utilize those areas will be, you know, the best thing that you can do if you are putting yourself in the right position. So, Dr. Brian, you mentioned how can you do this? Well, you have to find out what actually works for you on paper. So, if you wanted a mixed use property, and having a mixed use property will allow you to live on the property at 41% and have a business on the property at 49%. Well, that works perfectly because now you have the ability to get the best of both worlds. You have your business right there, and you're paying the price of your primary home. So it's a lot of different things that people are able to take advantage of when the opportunity is right. So up to $2 million, 680 credit score. Remember, that's for this only, because under a primary resident, you only need a 540 to purchase a home. But when we're talking about specialty products, they want this credit score to be a little bit higher. When we talk about down payment assistance, say there's someone who's a lab tech, say there's somebody who is a LPN, and they're just starting off, not a whole lot of money, but they're in school, they're striving, they're doing what they need to do to improve themselves. Well, credit score can start at a 600 for down payment assistance. So that's why it's important to know all of the things. So don't just look at this number and say, "Oh my God, I can't buy it." That's not true. You have to find the best product for you and the best program for you. And when you're talking and speaking about a loan program, it needs to be laid all out. This is what I qualify under this rate. This is what I qualify under this rate and this credit score, and this is what I qualify. You need to have at least 1 to 3 choices out there, and that lender should be able to provide that. Purchasing primary resident refinancing option at GIL, we don't charge you to refinance, which means that once you buy that home, I don't care if you refinance, and Gil doesn't care if you refinance every 6 months. You're not being charged to refinance if you're doing rate and term. Now, if you're doing cash out, that's a different story. So, um, uh, Miss Marie comes up, she says, "Hey, I want to pull some cash out of my property and buy this next home, Miss Jasmine, cash." Well, because we'll be pulling cash out, that's considered a cash out refinance. So rate and term, no charge. The charge only happens when a person is doing a cash out. All right. No minimum contributions because remember, it's 100%. And then gift funds are available. My son, my daughter, they wanted to bless me with $50,000. Or, hey, I have my sister who has $100,000 that she wants to gift me with. Great, fine. Or if I have $2,000 that my dad wanted to give me, fine, no problem, great. No problems with gifts. And then now this is where I get a little bit of heartburn, y'all. Don't go into an adjustable rate mortgage unless you know exactly what you're doing. Everything that you talk about from here on out needs to always be fixed because this adjustable rate can sneak up on you. Adjustable rates are different than a buy down, but this number can sneak up on you because remember, if it says 5 and 1, that means it's going to be the same and then it's going to change. So you have to be aware of that versus how a buy down works. You're buying that rate down temporarily for an amount of time. Okay. And then state restrictions apply. That's going to go by each individual state that you're in, whether that's Georgia, Florida, Tennessee, and so on. 1 to 2 units, condos, single family, townhouses. Depending on what area you're in, folks, you might have someone off of 400, and they say, "I live in a condo," and you'll have somebody off of 285. They say, "I live in a townhouse." They're really the same. It's just really how that builder chose to classify it is how it's going to be utilized on paper. So that's why they always have to single it out and say condos permitted as well as townhouses because it depends on how it's classified on paper. All right. 60 days. So you mean to tell me I have not started my job? I've graduated. I've gone through my residency. I've not gone through my residency, but I have this salary that starts at this particular institution, which is called a Peachtree. got at this institution, and I can buy my house before I even get my first paycheck? Absolutely. Because off of the strength of what you're going to do, Miss Tony, that is why they're able to do that for you. That is why they're able to put you in a position so that you can purchase your home, because you don't need to be worried about where you're living, Miss Marie, and you can buy this home. You don't need to be worried about, supplementing income at some degree, Dr. Bryant, and worrying about this. You need to be worried about your patients filling the scripts and doing the things that you need to do in that job. That's hopefully all that makes sense, folks. All right. So under this particular medical professional, these are some of the areas that are able to be covered here. PAs. And how does this really play a part? Say you have a military area. This could play a huge part because you have a lot of people that are in and out. They want to purchase, but they might have their VA benefits tied up. Well, this allows people to use the other side of it, use their professional degree to be able to purchase, and allows you to come in 680 on this particular program as well, 1.5. So it's just about $500,000 down, and then they're 97% on this one. Still same. Adjustable rate mortgage options are available on that one, as well as fixed, and then owner occupied. All right. So a little bit about Guild. Guild's been around since 1960 and started off as a construction company, and had a little bit of trouble trying to get people to the closing table and couldn't figure out why. So in the 80s, branched out, became a mortgage lender, starting off, and just whittled its way across the state, where now we have about 2,300 loan officers in all 50 states. So there are options for people. I'm licensed in 4 states: Alabama, Georgia, Florida, and Tennessee. But I'm able to do loans because Guild has a presence in all 50 states. So I can take care of a loan in any state. So say, Ms. Marie, you might have a sister who lives in Wisconsin. You tell Miss Jasmine's going to hook her up with one of her referral partners for Keller Williams, and I'll be able to take care of the loan for them. And that way, you know that your sister is going to be taken care of. So, but you might say, well, hey, I want to buy a property in Oklahoma, and Miss Jasmine will be able to assist you with finding and locating a realtor to assist you through her branch and network, and then I'll be able to take care of the loan for you. So you'll know you'll still be working with people just the same way you would be if you were working with them local. So those are the main things about having resources and having the opportunity for those resources. Here's my information. As you can see, I am super passionate, y'all, about real estate, because real estate has really changed my life. I bought my first house when I was 21. Didn't know what I was doing. I wouldn't trade a thing, though, because those lessons that I learned are allowing me to be able to talk to you here today, and to be able to talk about the good news of how I was able to navigate that. It wasn't until I got in where I met and I bought my home, where I was able to talk to people like Charles Funderburg and Sherwood Adams and all those other men and women that I met along my real estate journey. And then when I actually got into the business, and I saw that most people only accept what they receive because they just don't know that they have other option. So that's one of the things that is super important that I've learned about Ms. Jock and Ms. Jasmine, is that they care about the relationship after the transaction. Because it's one thing to have a transaction with somebody, it's another thing to build a relationship and be that person that you can call, and just having, and you don't have just one person with them, you have 2 people. So if one person is not available, the other person is. And that's very similar to my journey. My wife is also a loan originator. So if I'm not available, she's available. Like, one of us will always be able to, return that phone call, or look at that file, or take care of anything that you might do, even if it's just exploring what those options look like. But the biggest part of it is that you have teams and not just an individual, because individuals get sick. As we know, we're in the medical field. So individuals get sick. Individuals have family challenges that could come up. Well, when you're working with a team like Team Robinson, you have people that are there working together, and what one person knows, the other person knows. And that's very similar to how Ashley and I, there's not a thing that goes on a transaction that she doesn't know, and vice versa, because we have that running chat all day long to make sure that we're both up on that. So I get very passionate about it, y'all, as you can see. So feel free when we get to that question and answer section, let me know if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer.
Thank you so much, Harris. That was
You're welcome.
beautiful, to say the least.
Mm.
It's always good knowing about the money, because of course you can't buy. We can't help you without the financing or the strategies, like Harris was saying. Just because one lender said no, that doesn't mean it's an absolute no. So
That's
we
right.
do specialize in finding strategies, digging in a little deeper. I think Harris and Jock said just about being patient and just knowing like, hey, this is a process. To find a plan and a strategy is a process, and we are here to help. So right now I am about to share our screen to finish up this presentation for you guys. Did anybody have any questions so far about the loan part?
I
Did
had
anybody? Okay.
I just had a quick question. With was it the medical professional program loan?
Yes, ma'am.
When it comes to like the down payment, how much does the loan require as far as us making a down payment?
Great question. So if you go on the open market and you choose one of the in-house programs that Guild does, then we can do 100%. If we choose the specific medical professionals up to the 1.5 million, then you're at 97%. So simple math, 97%. If you got that 3% of $100,000, that's $3,000. 200,000, you're looking at six. $300,000 home, you're looking at nine. 400,000, you're looking at 12. So you'll be at 3% of whatever that loan amount is. And just for simple math, using those numbers versus on the other side of it, 100% is 100%. They're going to take care of your down payment for you, which leaves you that ability to negotiate the closing costs. And that's where you're going to have two fantastic realtors to take care of that for you. They're going to negotiate down to the penny as much as they possibly can, and those particular loan programs will allow up to 6%. So that's the great part about it.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
And I want to add too, the 3% is actually lower than the 3.5%, which is normally a traditional FHA that a lot of first-time home buyers use.
That's right.
So
there's one other avenue that sometimes people choose to go to. So if they don't choose a 100% program, they might choose a 0.5%, 1%, 2%, 3%. So it's like 10, 15 of them that just my company has. But you have to do like you're doing, Ms. George, just ask the questions. That is the most important part.
And just see what's best for you. You may want to put down more money versus not, based on your 5-year goal.
That's right.
It just really matters. Or leveraging. Hey, I use this to buy a house. Okay. That matters. And alrighty. Okay. So we just finished up this. You guys contact Harris if you have any questions. If you want to get on a call with me and Jock and Harris, we would love to. That way we can just do the full picture for you as well. So leveraging your first home for future investments. I like to bring this up because sometimes when you buy real estate, it's what Harris said, hey, I need to get a house right now. I don't have time to figure out house hacking, and the city that I stay in don't even have duplexes. They don't even have a quadplex available, or they may be outpricing you depending on the area. So being able to leverage your first home for future investments is always so important. A lot of times with me and Jock's first time home buyer, we run across a lot of people who want this dream house for their first house. They want to get the top of the line, new everything. They just start working, or they've been working for a while, but just never invested in real estate, which is, the number one way to build wealth. So we do believe even your primary home is an investment. And we say that because you can leverage it to make future investments if you do it right. And that's what we kind of want to talk about today. And that's like pretty much the drive of this webinar. So leveraging your first home can look like buying a house you got approved for $300,000, but you decided to buy a house for $200 or $150. That is well below your means. Now you bought in a good area. Right now, based on the charts that Jaquan was showing, that home values are rising continuously. So because you bought right and bought below your means, you were able to save monthly. You were able to probably put more money towards your monthly payments, which was buying down your mortgage, which indirectly builds equity for you. And then you can pull out money from your property to buy another property. Or you can pull out money from your property to buy any other investment. You can buy stocks. You can do anything with the money from your property. A house is a gift that keeps on giving. And a lot of people don't realize that. They feel like, hey, I bought my house. I'm going to stay here forever and I'm paying it off. But the reality is you can leverage this to build wealth and to use that appreciation to buy a rental property that can bring in passive income. So real estate, just like we was talking about, can help you retire comfortably. I think Harris gave an example of some people that he knew that was in the real estate industry who decided, hey, yeah, I'm a doctor. I'm in the healthcare field. I make a lot of money. I work a lot of hours. I need to figure out where to put this money besides food, shelter, clothes, and a vacation maybe once a year. So a good thing to do is to start a portfolio. If you buy a house, and it'll be on another slide as well, but you can do multifamily investments, which you can get paid from every door you buy. You can also buy multiple properties over time. So say your goal is, I just want to buy $100,000 properties. If you buy 4 of them, now you have $400,000 worth of assets that you use somebody else's money to get.
That's the part that a lot of people don't realize. Even if I'm in a program where I need to put 10% down on a $100,000 property, by the time I hit my 4th unit, I've only paid $40,000 down at closing, but I have $400,000 in assets. Now, over time, yes, I will have to pay mortgage and things like that. But when you look at what we talked about initially, the leverage that you have in real estate, there are not many methods of investing that compare.
Can I add to that, please?
Yes.
So just to add to that strategy, also know what you're going into. So that house property is $100,000 and you have X number of dollars per month on the mortgage. You're going to have one amount at 10% down. You're going to have another amount at 20% down. Anything less than 20%, you're going to have mortgage insurance, and you're going to have to escrow taxes and insurance, homeowners insurance, which you'll probably see it on there as hazard insurance. So hazard insurance, homeowner insurance is the same exact thing. We label it as homeowners insurance, but all insurance is hazard insurance. So anything less than 20%, you're going to be right there. Well, you might say, okay, well, Harris, I can maximize how much I have going out if I just go ahead and put 20% down and choose this as an investment property. That way, I don't have to have mortgage insurance from the top. I don't have to escrow any of my taxes and homeowners insurance. So I don't have to have that at all. So now you maximize how much money you can get on the rental analysis that Miss Jasmine's going to provide for you. So when she does a rental analysis on that property and say that you can get $1,500, you now have to decide, if I put 10% down, this is and my mortgage is this amount, less the 1,500, I have this to as a capital gain. Same thing if I do not, and I put more money down up front, and I have 20% down, but I'm able to get $1,500 a month from this property based on the area. Then I have this as a capital gain, and that is a very, very basic and simple way to know how you want to. Do you want to benefit and profit early by putting more money down, or do you want to profit over time because somebody else is going to be paying for this property anyway? Put in your mind that somebody else is paying for this property. So you'll just get your money out a little bit later once you reach your 20% loan to value. And most people reach 20% loan to value in the first 2 to 4 years. If you already got 10% in there, you normally reach it in about 2 years.
And if you understood, put understood in the chat.
I know it's a lot, yeah.
So same right here, just a depiction, kind of what I said about the $100,000. Right here is giving an example of $250,000 properties, which with great strategies and just knowing your specifics, we can figure out a way to make it work for you as far as numbers is concerned. You do have options to doing a 15-year mortgage or a 30-year mortgage. Most people opt to the 30-year just because you pay less. People opt to 15 years so they can hurry up and be done with it. Hey, if I'm 35 and 15 years, I want to be done. At 50, I want all my properties paid for. I want them to be bringing in money for me. And I want to be traveling the world with my wife, with my husband, running my pharmacies, stress-free because I got the money, to leverage. I want to work any job I please because I made money elsewhere outside of my profession. So just knowing that in the back of your mind is a great way to start. Just changing your mindset about real estate and just, hey, I need a 5-year plan. I need a 7-year plan. Hey, I need a 15-year plan. Because right now, I feel like a lot of us are at that age where, hey, do we want to do this for the rest of our life? If we do we make enough money to sustain? Or what's our stressors that's coming on with work? So right here, we gave an example for 35-year being debt free at 50 with your houses with a 15-year mortgage. The financial outcome, your net worth will be about 3.5 mil. And you can passive income about $250K a year doing this strategy. So key takeaway is real estate provides financial security and early retirement opportunities. If you do it right, of course, it's always risk. It's risk in every investment. I know we get a lot of people saying, hey, I don't want to deal with tenants. I don't want to deal with getting a new roof. I don't want to deal with keeping up the property that I bought that's making me money, right? So pretty much a lot of people say, hey, I don't want to take care of these responsibilities that I have to retire early. If you look at it in that way, I would rather just put 4% in my 401k, 6% in my 401k, and let my company match it until I retire and by the age of 70, 65. I mean, I'm not sure what what people mindsets are about it, but the reality is it's always risk. The stock market could crash. The companies can go out of business that's in your 401k. At least with real estate, you have something tangible. Same thing, just kind of reiterating it. Of course, real estate versus 401k and stocks, a comparison, cash flow. Real estate can generate rental income, while the stocks really just rely on market growth. Leverage. You can leverage real estate with different finance options that Harris was saying. Hey, you can do 15-year, you can do 30-year, you can put more money down, you can not put any money down. Versus stocks, if you buy a stock, if you buy one share, you have to pay for that full. You make about half of a share, but you still don't get the whole share. At least with a house, you can get the whole house with no money down in some scenarios. Risk, just like I was saying, it's always risk. Any investment is risk. Life is a risk. You're taking risk right now being on this call. Appreciation. Long-term property values will increase over time. And Jaquan went over that with all the charts. Of course, with healthcare, real estate, we go by the data. We go by the numbers. We go by what happened over time. And tax benefits, you can depreciate those risks. You can do mortgage insurance deductions, rental expenses and deductions. If you are offering your rental properties, you can reduce some of those repairs that you have had to make for your tenants. Write that off on your taxes. And also 1031 exchanges, where you can literally move your profits from one investment property over to another without paying the capital gains tax.
Once again, some additional tax benefits for both rental and income. She talked about depreciation. So, method to lower your taxable income. Mortgage insurance that you have to pay can be removed from your taxes. Property taxes is something that you can take off your taxes. And then the 1031 exchanges.
So pretty much, you have horizontal versus vertical income. So vertical income is more career-based. What we're doing right now, I'm going to Walgreens, working my salary job. I have to put in 40 hours a week in order to keep getting the same money. Horizontal income is particularly passive income or business-based. So if you do own your own business, of course, you can generate more income in that way. But you do have to work for it. In passive income, you buy something that's bringing you money in over time without you having to spend a specific amount of hours doing it. So best strategy is to leverage your vertical income to get into the horizontal income way. Either create your business where you can leverage your income to make more money, to spend less time, to have other people working for you, or get some passive income such as rental properties and different other real estate investment properties. And this is a chart just showing it comparison.
So passive income can come in real estate a couple of different ways. The main thing people may think about when you hear passive is rental properties. Long-term leases provide stable cash flow. A lot of times, regardless of what the economy is doing, people are going to need a home. They need good housing in quality areas, so it's important to buy correctly. Over the last couple of years, we've seen a rise in short-term rentals. Airbnb, your Verbos, people just managing themselves. These rentals, if that long-term doesn't fit your bill, they offer high income potential and still have the flexibility to use a property for yourself or for loved ones and things like that. A lot of times these are great options for people who have kids who are old enough to live by themselves but may be in and out of town, i.e. high school, may be headed off to college and things like that. You have the multifamily and commercial route. These provide increased revenue. You can purchase one property and have multiple tenants, so you have a multiplier effect. A REIT and seller financing. A REIT is a form of investment similar to a stock that you can invest in a number of you can invest in the value of certain assets without having to actually purchase a share, and then getting into seller financing. So I can go to a seller and say, hey, I want to pay you a portion up front, and then you would basically be paying them what you can consider a mortgage over a period of time. A lot of times when you go the seller financing route, you'll see what's called a balloon payment. So you may make payments over a 5 or 10 or another agreed upon time frame, and at the end of that period, you typically will owe the remainder of what you have paid in the total sales price. And then house hacking. So house hacking is a strategy where you purchase multiple units, a duplex, a quadplex, maybe a tri. You live in one unit and you rent out the other two. So you're effectively allowing your tenants to pay your rent. If you're going to go with this strategy, a lot of times we see it more effective. getting an LLC or a property manager so that it's not common knowledge that you're living next door to your tenants. That can cause some conflicts. So
So is anybody wondering how they can get started with all of this? You can come off mute if you want. Okay. Dr. Brian. All right. So great question. We gave you so much information, so much knowledge. How do I get started? What do? I got money. I don't got money. I got investments. I need to put a plan in place to make sure that I'm reaching my 5-year, my 10-year goals, because working every day is not going to help me retire the way I want to retire. So pretty much, of course, the first one is just partnering with real estate agents. Me and Jaquan, we're here. We know the market. We know what's going on. We have access to great lenders such as Harris. We have access to closing attorneys, contractors, tax specialists who specialize in real estate tax strategies as well. We negotiate for you. We come up with a detailed plan, making sure that we do proper analysis and things like that for you. We offer the finance guiding by connecting you with people that meet your specific needs. Like Harris was saying, like, hey, if you contact them on their own, sometimes they may not give you the answers that you're looking for. But by partnering with knowledgeable real estate agents, we will guide you. Hey, make sure you ask this, make sure you ask that, or we may just hop on a Zoom together just to make sure we're doing what's best for you. Harris made another point. A lot of people don't want to take the time, because real estate is a fast-paced business. A lot of people don't want to sit down and personalize things for people, but we're here to do exactly that, to personalize a strategy for you, to make sure that we are coming up with the best plan for you, with your help, of course, and your guidance on what's your long-term goals. So we do offer first-time home buyer consultations. Even if you been in your career for a long time and you may have started a business but never bought a primary property. I have met some people that did that. Like, hey, I started my business. I have a commercial property, but I don't even have my first home yet. I just been renting because I don't want to pay 6% interest rates, right? So it's so many different strategies. First-time home buyer, it's a lot of different options for first-time home buyers. And like we said, your first-time home is also an investment. And just to make sure you're looking at it in that way, investment property analysis. If you are purchasing any multifamilies or rental properties, we do have the skills and the tools to make sure we analyze those for you, showing you comparable properties, showing you different rental rates, because we have access to a lot of those. 1031 exchange guidance. We do partner with some people who specialize in 1031 exchange, especially some accountants and your tax strategists as well will help out in that process, which is very time sensitive. And we can talk more about that on a separate call because there's a lot of different steps. Commercial property expertise. So just making sure that you are finding the right property for your business and having the finances to make sure that you can do that. And turnkey properties. Some people say, hey, I don't want to renovate a home to rent it out. I want to find a house that's ready to go, that when I buy it, I can get a rental in there automatically. So we do help with that as well. So objections to avoid. We come across so many people, healthcare specialists, people who are just professionals, coaches, entertainers, just all people come up with so many things why they're not buying real estate. So a lot of people say, hey, I don't have enough time to reach out to real estate agents to get started. I don't have time to put in my loan application. That's the number one thing. People don't have time to apply for financing. Another one, real estate agents are untrustworthy. A lot of people had bad experience with their agents who undereducated them in a lot of ways. And they are turned off from real estate altogether and like, hey, and before I deal with another agent, I'll just rent forever. That is not the case with us and some other good agents. Too much risk, like we talked about before. Real estate does come with risk, but so does anything else. And just looking at it from that perspective and changing your mindset, what we do is just try to help you mitigate those risks. Know one to help manage. It is different options to help manage your properties that you buy for investments. We do know people who specialize in Airbnb management who can manage your Airbnb for you. Of course, they charge like a 10% fee, but that's something you don't have to worry about while your property is getting paid for by somebody else. You can just sit back, relax. They may check in with you from time to time and help you out with that. Also, real estate investing are for the super wealthy. Most people look at Grant Cardone like, oh, he got $20 million in real estate. Donald Trump, he owns all these towers. That's just for rich people. It's not. Like Harris said, hey, you can get a house 100% financing. You don't have to be super uber wealthy to start. That's how you would gain your wealth.
So in summary, why invest in real estate? We talked about passive income potential, the opportunity to earn income without managing each day, financial stability through the recurring income that real estate creates. You have the option and the access to an appreciating asset. We've shown you that property values increase over time and that equity grows with your mortgage payment. You can leverage access to these assets via financing. Borrowing money allows purchasing high value assets. Small down payments can control that equity in the large investments. And then there's a number of tax advantages, and it is a excellent hedge against inflation when following the right standards and formulas. So thank you for your time. These are some QR codes if you want to book consultations with either us or Harris. I do see we have a couple of questions in the chat, so we're gonna stop screen sharing.
So yeah, we're just giving you a little time to scan those QR codes if you need it. If you can't scan the QR code, if you are on your phone using it, you can just reach out to me. I can connect you with Harris to get some financing options going. But I'm looking forward to it, and we will get started with the questions.
So I had a quick question. I didn't know if
Yeah.
y'all want to answer the questions in the chat first or.
Go ahead, Joe. Go ahead.
Okay. So what advice do you have for someone that's just graduating from pharmacy school as far as getting started with their first investment property?
Okay. So will you ever live in this property?
Yes.
Okay. Then it's not an investment property. It is your primary residence. Because after 365 days or 1 year, you can do whatever you want to do with the property because at that time your family size may change, your station in life may change. You may relocate. So now it becomes to be an investment property. So, but because you can live in the home, it can start off as your primary and then move to an investment. Very similar to mine. Mine started off as a primary. I just didn't know what we're talking about now. I stayed in my home for 5 years. Then I made it an investment property, and life goes on. So as you're looking and going through your journey, that's when you're going to get with Miss Jasmine, Mr. Jaquan, and talk about, is it next to schools? Is it like, I think I saw in the chat you put, all right, Tuskegee. So if you're familiar with the area, then you know Tuskegee been hurting for housing for years. So somebody to come in and buy a home there, and who would be willing to take border students in, could be students in the healthcare line over there with Dr. Spears. And you can reach out to her and say, hey, you have any students that are looking to move off campus? And now you have 2 students that are renting those rooms out for the next 3 semesters each. And you're charging them $2,000 a semester. What a mortgage on a house in Tuskegee may only be, $110,000, but you've made the money to pay for the house, the entire mortgage for the year in one semester. So it's how you navigate it. You live in one, and just only as an example, you live in one room and you rent the other 2 out. Or you could buy that home as a second home, because one thing that people don't know is that you don't have to own a first home, a primary home, before you buy a second home. A second home just means it's away from where your permanent resident is at the time. So that means you could be living in an apartment in Auburn Station, and you bought a second home 50 miles away in this location here. So it's a lot of different techniques that you could utilize. The world is in front of you on that one.
Okay, I understand. I got you. Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And that's exactly what we did. Our first house, we knew we were not going to stay there long. We bought below our means, and now our house gained about 100,000 in equity, just because we were able to buy a house that probably needed a little bit paint and needed a little woodwork, but we got it priced. We were able to buy it at a great price because of those things. And we didn't mind putting in paint. Jaquan, he painted it himself. We didn't mind putting in the work to get it to how we liked it, and now we can reap the benefit from it about 4 years later.
So Joe, I would answer the question by saying let the numbers dictate your decision. It's really easy to get caught up in what I want in the house as far as ultimately. But if you look at it from an investment point of view, once again, I want to buy, number one, beneath my means. I want to buy like Harris said, in an area that's desirable for renters, that I'm not going to have an issue attracting people who want to live in that home. And then let those be your priorities when making a decision. Partner with an agent who is not necessarily looking to sell you the most expensive home, but you want to work with someone who's allowing you to accomplish those goals and is going to advise you in the long run, so that when you look back over life, you develop a partnership, something that's more relationship and goal oriented, as opposed to somebody who's just looking for one transaction.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I couldn't have said it better myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Do anybody else have any questions?
I have one. Dr. Brian is not on here, but I wanted to just kind of share with y'all something that just popped in my mind. There's a city official. We're not going to say any names, but there's a city official who I thought he just did a fantastic job. He bought a vacant lot that is very, very close to Auburn football stadium. It's just a vacant lot. He paid pennies for this lot, and he rents it out during the season and just allows mobile homes to park there, and they park their mobile home there all season long. So now they basically come down and just have that as a spot for games. And when we talk about real estate comes in so many different forms and so many different avenues. So it's just how you look at real estate and how you can see the benefit in it. Because how he saw the benefit of buying 2 lots, one for general parking and one for RV trailers, and he's making a nice sum off of that every single month during football season. So that's just two small examples.
And it didn't pay for itself by now, right?
Oh, over and over. He's owned those things since 2010 when was Cam? When did Cam leave? Was it 10 maybe? So he bought them during the season camp because Auburn football team wasn't as strong in 8, 9. He bought them right at 10, and he's made nothing but profit off of them. So it paid for themselves in one season because everybody wanted to see that superstar.
And I would say
I-
trust your instinct. That's a great example of people seeing the need. A lot of times you'll see a need, you might you might say, hey, it's no parking. I'm pretty sure that's what he did every time he went to the game. He had trouble finding parking. So find a way to solve a need. Sometimes that's the priority as opposed to finding somewhere to stay. What do people need in this area? Even if you're not going to be the one servicing it. If you see a bunch of apartment buildings, I don't know where you live, but I'm pretty sure it's been a bunch of self-storage places popping up because somebody saw a need and said, hey, nobody who lives in apartments or these renters have anywhere to put their stuff when they move in. And so it might be a storage building. It might be a laundromat, it may be something along those lines. So I would say keep your eyes open to what the local economy is doing and what has been feedback. The money is made when people have pain points. If I can provide solution to your pain, I have your business, and then it doesn't become about it's not what they say, race, creed, color, anything like that. I had a solution to your problem. So at the very least, let's have a conversation on how I can help you. Because you have something that I want, which is spending power, and I have something that you want, and what that want may be could be a number of different things, but everybody gains something. So what we pride ourselves on doing is number one, creating win-win for you, our clients, but also educating you on how to keep that going, and create win-win for other people.
All right. Well, we don't have any more questions, you guys. Thank you so much for joining. Harris, you've been amazing. You guys
You too. Thank you.
call him, text him, email him, and he'll get back to you. You guys, if you can just email us. If you didn't scan the QR code, you can find us at Robinson Realty Co. on Instagram. You can find our Facebook page as well. And our email is therobinsonrealtyco@gmail.com.
Thank you all for your time.
Yeah, have a great evening. Thank you.
Thank you.